Hey, where'd that? There we go. My apologies for the confusion. Good evening and welcome. It's Monday, June 1st, 2026, and you're watching another Monday edition of Roasting the Press. My name is Chuck Black. I'm here with the fully sized Richard Gagnon. Richard, how's it going?
Oh, doing great. Enjoying some blueberry goat cheese.
What's blueberry goat cheese taste like?
Goat cheese with blueberries in it.
Is it good?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. You are living large. You mentioned the temperature today is a little bit cooler where you are.
Oh, yeah.
You have your sweater on. It's probably a lot colder.
Well, I put my hoodie on, my not TV hoodie on, just so as I could stay a little bit warmer for the show. I didn't want to start.
Very cool.
I don't want to start the fireplace. It's just not worth it.
It's still spring. There'll be good days and bad days no matter what. How do you keep warm when it's February, if I can ask?
I can keep the fireplace going.
Oh, okay. You just didn't feel like putting it on tonight.
No, because when I start the fireplace, then it just stays hot for way too long.
Oh, okay.
So instead, I got little heater blankets, those little heating pads.
Yeah.
I got two of them at my feet in the bed. I turn them on, and it heats up the bed, and then I'm just toasty.
That sounds neat. I have a trouble. You go. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I have trouble in my house. Marianne is so much slimmer, and she has no fat on her at all because she's a runner.
Right.
So she gets cold really easily. Well, I'm like a foot taller, and I've got extra flab on me, even though there's some muscle there too. And I don't get cold as easily. So we have challenges dealing with that.
Yeah, no, it's actually for me, it's not too bad. Rocky, he goes under the blankets lately. He seems to enjoy it under there.
He's a smart pussycat.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Shall we move on towards our first story for tonight?
Sure.
I want to start off with something that just I found to be incredibly funny. It's the May 28th Reason TV on YouTube post, Bureaucratic Cavemen. And the thing about Reason TV is that they used to be fine, upstanding, sensible, and logical. But they've decided that every once in a while they can afford to be a little goofy. Anyway, here we go. Reason TV talking about bureaucratic cavemen. Here we go.
Like sun, but small.
Terrific.
I call fire.
Uh-huh. And do you have a zoning variance for that?
I hit rock, make fire.
So no impact study, no spark mitigation strategy? Mr. Thang, you seem like a very nice caveman, but I want to ask you something. If this fire really takes off, it's the next pointy rock. What happens when everyone starts using it?
Everyone warm.
Or everyone is on fire. Cave babies on fire. Do you want that?
No! Make pit. Keep baby warm but safe.
Right. And what happens when a cave baby goes into the pit?
Move, baby.
Have you thought about how this is going to impact our blanket makers, legacy stakeholders displaced in our vital wolf pelt manufacturing sector?
No.
I didn't think so. What is it going to eat?
Sticks. Wood sticks.
That sounds like it's going to disproportionately impact caves that don't have wood access. Where does the fire poop?
Ain't no poop. Oh, it fart in sky. I call small.
Oh no.
Oh, no?
That's going to offend the sky god, isn't it? I didn't want to bring this up, but my nephew, he has cave asthma. Now, we offend the sky god, he's going to give my nephew autism.
You know, like fire.
It's not that I don't like your proposal. It's that I want safe, responsible fire.
Who decides safe?
The tribe.
Even Og?
Maybe not Og. We're going to redistrict his cave.
Oh, we vote!
No. We're going to have a committee. We'll have an impact review, an air study review, a non-binding referendum from the community as a whole, input from the pelt makers, and then at that point we'll have a supplication for the sky god to give the whole thing over to the Council of Elders. They will make an informed decision about the possible impacts and externalities.
Smoky.
Yep.
Sort of
That's what we
reminds
need.
me of the Alberta referendum and politics in general.
Yeah, I know. The Alberta referendum, all these idiots that are stepping into that, trying
What
to
do you mean?
stop it. They're trying to stop it.
I've noticed that. I've seen I've seen the newspapers and I've seen the online stories over the last week or so. Um, they didn't succeed though, did they?
No, apparently the referendum is going to be a question of saying, should we have a referendum?
Yes. So there's an intermediary step.
Yeah. So
And then they have to do a design study and they got to bring in the stakeholders, the sky gods.
Yeah, let's just basically start the fire and burn anybody who's in the way.
My understanding is that Daniel Smith has offered to put a referendum question on the ballot in October, asking if we should have a referendum.
Right.
And no plans after that.
No.
Do you think she's in favor or opposed to referendum?
I think she's sort of in favor.
Okay.
But I don't think that. Well, her opinion is hers, and so she's in favor of it, which is good.
Yeah, I suppose so. But if she's a premier of the province, you want to get some idea of her opinion. You don't want her to be Mark Carney, who just depending on the way the wind goes, he'll say almost anything.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, and she's not necessarily going to be. Well, she'll get the support of Trump.
Yeah. Well, she's been to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah. Any more comments before we go on to the next piece?
No, that was a good hit, though.
Yeah, I wanted to put it in because I thought it was comedy gets a lot of notoriety.
Yep.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about leftists trying to make comedy a little bit later on in the show today.
Oh, that should be good.
It'll be amusing. You want to go on to our next piece?
Right.
Our next piece is all about my favorite topic, stupidity, which is a function of bureaucrats in general and the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation in particular. Now, before we start this piece, I think it's worth noting that the current graphic for the CBC is a modified version of something that was designed by a famous artist in 1974, which was pretty much like the current CBC logo, except they had little spots to show that the logo was continuously expanding. And when I was a kid, everybody made fun of that. It was called a flaming asshole. The CBC was a flaming asshole. And that was a long time ago. But I did a web search on it today, and there are almost no remembrances of the CBC's flaming asshole designation. And I thought that at least on this show, we should remember our past. Anyway, an exceptional recent example of CBC acting like a flaming asshole is a fake company named Forge Media. And their fake news ambush against a variety of conservative voices that we're going to talk to almost immediately. Now, as noted in the May 15th Owlet post, a deceitful propaganda campaign marketed as a prank. It all started with a CBC show, Northland Tales, an unscripted half-an-hour proposed comedy series which was to be composed of Indigenous activists using pranks for social action in the spirit of Sacha Baron Cohen's Borat, there's Borat, there he is, big success, or the 2003 movie, The Yes Men, where they were making fun of corporations, or even the video we just saw from Reason TV. Everybody's jumping on the comedy bandwagon right now. Now, the CBC co-production planned to target modern and historical injustices against Indigenous peoples. And it was to do so by focusing on critics of residential school narratives and defenders of all people, Canadian Prime Minister Sir John A. Macdonald and his legacy. Now, the project was a co-production between CBC Entertainment and the Aboriginal People's Television Network, APTN, and it was funded in part by the Indigenous Screen Office of Canadian Heritage, which already gives billions of dollars a year to Canadian media outlets, and in this case is documented to have been given between 2.5 and 5 million taxpayer dollars to pay for this very first segment of Northland Tales. Now, according to the May 14th, 2026 CBC News post on the topic, where we go? One back. CBC called out for role in prank interviews of Kamloops residential school grave sites. Now, the $2.5 to $5 million was used to create a variety of fake corporations, complete with fabricated websites, documents, and fake identities. Some of those fake identities were held by American social justice warriors. CBC couldn't find any Canadian comedians able to keep a straight face, so they hired Americans. And the funding was used to do all of this stuff. Now, according to Juno News, where we go? I'm having a little trouble with my buttons tonight. Anyway, according to Juno News, these are called cutouts, illegal cutouts, and they were used to lure targets under false pretenses, pretending to celebrate Canadian history, reclaiming Sir John A. Macdonald's legacy, and sometimes even honoring military service. And their targets were primarily conservative leading academics, authors, commentators, politicians, RCMP veterans, military personnel, and others. Now, those targets included Frances Widdowson, who we spoke about here previously. She is an academic critical of the residential school hysteria claims. She was flown to Vancouver on Heritage Canada money for a supposed interview before a planned ambush. Widdowson live streamed her response. Evidently, the comedian who was supposedly fake interviewing her turned mean and then threw a bunch of sandals at her feet, representing all the residential school children who were supposedly in unmarked graves. Widdowson was smart enough to pull out her camera immediately and live stream her response. We'll include a link to her response in our show notes, which will come out tomorrow. But her response, acknowledging somebody who was trying to lie to her and live streaming what was actually going on and responding to the guy, embarrassed the broadcaster publicly, primarily because CBC and APTN didn't have their segment heavily edited and ready and didn't expect to get their response out for months. And Widdowson had it up and on the line within an hour, which shows you where the CBC's $1.5 billion budget goes. It shows you where the Heritage Canada or the Heritage, the Canadian Heritage funding went, $2 to $5 million. And just, Widdowson pulled out her phone and gave a response. The second person who was caught up in this was Canadian author Lindsay Shepherd. It keeps blinking too far over. Maybe there's something wrong with my mouse. Anyway, Lindsay Shepherd, who was also initially deceived with fake meetings, documents, and a commercial shoot before a second interview turned hostile. She walked out. She began to investigate. She brought up a couple of her conservative friends, and they brought this to the public note. Now, also targeted, according to this piece, which is oddly enough on Facebook, this is the May 15th, Beverly Nadjiger's post on Facebook. Conservative MP Aaron Gunn was targeted and offered up to do interviews. University professor Patrice Dutil, author Jonathan Kay, BC politician Dallas Brody, and a whole bunch of RCMP veterans and even military people. This is a big budget production looking anywhere for something people would laugh at. And they couldn't find it. Critics, especially the May 21st, the Hub Post, my apologies, none of my stuff's working today. There we go. Can't find one of my graphics. I think I'm as bad as CBC. Anyway, the post I'm looking for is the May 21st, the Hub Post. CBC Northland Tales scandal isn't about bad taste. It's about what happens when public money funds deception. They called the CBC the APTN piece unjournalistic, potentially fraudulent, and contrary to public broadcasting mandates. And CBC even wrote an editorial on the topic. Here it is. There's the piece. It came up now. That's the piece I was looking at. CBC Northland's tail scandal isn't about bad taste. It's about what happens when public money funds deception. And then we go to the last piece over here. This is independent media. CBC confirmed involvement in early productions, called the techniques used a long-established format, but production, when it became public knowledge, production was almost immediately paused, shut down, and no one at CBC wants to talk about the situation anymore. Richard, what do you think about the scandal?
Amazing. But one big thing I noticed there.
What?
There was an ad for the June 3rd presentation.
Yes.
And it stated that it started at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. There is no such thing as Pacific Standard Time anymore. Anybody who's doing any posts on the internet now should be doing what I was doing years ago and just label it as Pacific Time or Eastern Time.
What was that? That was Action Canada's Empower Hour?
I think so, yeah.
That's where I scooped it from, because they're talking about it. Widdowson in particular is making the rounds of the alternative media this week. And I think she's planning on doing 4 or 5 interviews. But that's the first one that came to me.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing funny about this story is my confusion. Is my confusing delivery and my inability to get the graphics right.
Well, anyways, that was just a thing that all these little things that stand out now for me are technical things.
Mm-hmm.
And if people aren't going to be honoring the fact that we're strictly Pacific Time now and Eastern Time, whatever, it's Central Time, it is no longer this DST or the S and D are no longer needed.
How about I agree?
Mm-hmm.
We're all a little bit sloppy. We all have a responsibility to be more precise.
Yeah.
Although I would argue that there are days when our sloppiness, our need to read, our need to understand what's going on, our making up things as we go along, our citations,
right.
any mistakes we made are examples that we are actual human beings rather than AI.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I got a little sidebar if we want to go on that.
Okay.
Canada Post has got they've got all this AI, but I call it AS.
Okay.
Artificial stupidity. We have an issue here. One of the things that Canada Post is that a PO box number is a legitimate address.
Mm-hmm.
That's a complete address. But somebody in Chase, BC, decided that the PO box that I give them, it's incomplete.
How do you mean incomplete? It's missing numbers or what?
They want more, but a legitimate PO box, and I got it from a guy I talked with today. I said, "Is a PO box a legitimate address?" And he said, "Yes."
Okay.
And I said, okay, well, why is my P.O. box, which is to Seymour Arm, not a legitimate address?
Yeah.
So anyways, he looked it all up. He looked up the transaction and everything else because all parcels were being shipped back. This one idiot in Chase has decided that this is not a legitimate address, my P.O. box.
One bureaucrat in a government department that spends way too much money and is slowly being winded down.
Yeah.
Messed up your mail.
So anyways, I talked with this guy and he's looking into it. He'll be phoning me probably tomorrow with more information. But he did tell me that a P.O. box number is a complete address with a postal code.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, but this one idiot in Chase decided that Seymour Arm doesn't exist. Just completely ignored.
Well, hopefully that one idiot in Chase will be looking for a new job soon.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, or either that, or else they're just pissed off at me, and they're just trying to do that with my mail because other people are still receiving theirs.
and this is the subtext here. This is another big government bureaucracy.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And it was the fact that artificial intelligence is being used, and I'm trying to go through their process to complain. So finally today I gave up with the chat stuff. And I just basically found the phone number, phoned it, and then this guy did phone me back today.
Wow.
Really good. So we'll see.
That is life yeah.
I call in a lot of cases they don't have artificial intelligence properly implemented, so it's called artificial stupidity.
I do agree with that.
Yeah.
My concern is that we're going into another story about artificial intelligence and journalism. So
yeah.
we can rage a little bit more if you want.
Well, actually, AI inside of journalism is really stupid.
Then you're gonna like this next story.
Let's go for it.
Hopefully I got the graphics right this time. We're going to talk about Chicago, Illinois-based Cision. Now, this company was once a wire service for press releases, but is now a public relations company, which has jumped on both the environmental and social governance bandwagon, while also embracing the concept that AI improves everything. Now, it calls itself an earned media company, which focuses on AI. And I think earned media means that the company is paid for content generated organically through Cision services and not paid for through advertising. But I'm not sure. From the client perspective, you got to pay money no matter what. But they say they are better because they focus on earned media. Like I said, I think there's a bit of a bait and switch. Clients pay for their content to get out no matter what. Now, Cision is typical. Cision is not special. Cision is typical of a whole series of well-known competitors, companies like Meltwater, Critical Mention, and Globe News Wire. And they all essentially still act as marketing agencies using fancy new names under fancy sales pitches. But every once in a while, they do something useful. Cision did about a week ago with something they call the 2006 State of the Media Report. And this report targets company media executives like me, like you, like the president of the Globe and Mail Corporation. And it makes several major points relating to artificial intelligence, public relations, trust, and social media. For example, you'll love this, Richard, when it comes to artificial intelligence in the newsroom, at least in legacy media outlets, AI integration has become routine with 82% of journalists in Canada and the US. In Canada, Cision only tracks government accredited journalists. Government accredited means journalists who get heritage funding or journalists who get CRA tax credits back for the corporation. But 82% of the journalists are now using at least one AI tool consistently. Now, their favorite tool is ChatGPT, with 47% of journalists following it. 22% use Gemini, and the rest 12% use Claude. This is where they get their stories from. And the State of the Media report notes that, I always thought I was doing so well. Despite the widespread adoption, concern regarding unchecked AI increased by 8 percentage points year over year. That to me means that, journalists are concerned about their usage, but it's like a drug. They're using it more and more. Now, when it comes to journalism and public relations company dynamics, they say some interesting things as well. First thing they say is that with shrinking newsrooms and resource constraints, 66 to 86% of journalists rely on press releases and PR pitches for their story ideas. Now, I can find 5 ideas to write about just by walking down the street and talking to my neighbors. But most accredited journalists in Canada wait for someone to issue a press release talking about their brand new product they want to flog. And if you really like to learn more about this product, you should talk to the vice president of marketing. And the Globe and Mail, the CBC, the Toronto Star, and the National Post are spending most of their time repurposing press releases from soap salesmen. And here's the second part when it comes to journalist PR dynamics. While journalists welcome pitches, 88% of journalists will immediately delete pitches that miss their specific beat. So if you try to sell soap to a guy who's into the business manufacturing vertical, he or she won't like that. That's what they're saying. I think this is sort of an after-the-fact justification. Journalists spend a lot of time taking pitches from PR people, and they say, well, they're more than willing to give up to throw out the pitches that don't meet their criteria and their categorizations. Anyway, that strikes me as being just an after-the-fact justification for being so lazy with their work. Now, despite these 2 earlier points, reporters are increasingly looking for relevant stories backed by compelling data, thoughtfulness, and extreme personalization. So even though they mostly take press releases to repurpose, they understand they're bad at it, and they're looking for something that touches them deep within their soul. Relevant stories backed by compelling data, thoughtfulness, and extreme personalization. And then we go to the last part of this report, where we talk about social media and trust. And according to the State of the Media report for this year, reliance on social media for reporting has dropped significantly. Only 21% of journalists spend their mornings looking through social media, especially X. And this is a 12-point decline. That's 1/3 down since 2024. That's not that long ago. That journalists don't think they get any good ideas from social media anymore. But of these social media platforms they like, journalists view LinkedIn as the most trusted platform because, I don't know, I would gather that everybody's trying to flog their business and it's easier to get press releases from LinkedIn. I'm not positive. The State of the Media report doesn't quite say. However, journalists absolutely don't like TikTok. Distrust in TikTok has climbed to 61%, prompting many news organizations to rethink their presence on the app, which to me is dumb. TikTok attracts a younger audience. It is more advertising inclusive. I think journalists just don't know how to read fast-paced TikTok videos. Anyway, that's my diatribe, Richard. What do you think of the state of the media?
Yeah, well, to me, it's still not telling the truth, but that's
Of course, they're not telling the truth. They're spending most of their time repurposing press releases.
yeah, I know. And what's interesting about press releases, there's an interesting story a friend of mine told me about. He was running for political office in Ottawa
Mhm.
many years ago, and he told me that the press releases uh, basically they're there for information, but it's supposed to be out there for the journalists to have information to base a story on. But instead of doing any research with it, they just take the press release and publish it that way.
Of course, I've
Spelling,
come
mis-
across. Yeah, you go. Continue.
spelling mistakes and all.
I have come across press releases. Most press releases these days talk all about the product, and then in a separate paragraph, they give you 2 or 3 quotes from the president of the company. So you can pretend that you actually interviewed the president of the country of the company. Same thing for Government of Canada press releases. It's very formatted. It's very structured. And they all tell stories. And if you actually want some context, you want something a little more important, they give you the direct phone number of the most junior PR flack in the company.
Right, exactly. And that's when I found out about that, I thought, okay, well, these press releases are a bunch of BS as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
They're not. They're there just to basically promote one point of view.
Yes. Well, their point of view, of course, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, yeah, and politicians love that.
Yeah. I remember in my childhood, they don't have them anymore, but they used to have police scanners. Remember police scanners? They used to allow you to tune in on police radios and find out where all the criminal activities were. So if you were on the crime beat, you spent most of your day driving around the city with a police scanner to see where the police were going. And we've even lost that mechanism these days. We mostly don't know what's going on. I think I talked a couple of weeks back about open source data points that independent journalists can actually plug themselves into and get useful information on wars, on business, on whether or not there's a riot going on in certain cities. But journalists don't access that stuff. And geez, they don't.
No, it's amazing.
So I don't know. How do you get a story put together?
Well, I just basically use the stuff I find off Telegram. The people that are posting there, they're spending time doing their research, creating their mini documentaries and all that information.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it all seems to be their points of view, which is good because they need to be exposed also. They need to be brought out so that if their story is a legitimate one, people are aware of it. So
you have a 2-part component. You're not just focusing on the story. You are also focusing on the outlet because you want to promote the outlet as well.
I want to give the people the opportunity to have their stories announced to the world.
And I think that's like massively useful. I'm sorry. I was thinking of legacy media. I noticed that nobody said anything in this 2026 media overview. Nobody said anything about Telegram. Nobody said anything about Signal. Nobody said anything about anything but stuff everyone has known about for years and years.
Exactly, yeah.
Does that suggest to you that media outlets are mostly trailing edge organizations?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Media outlets are no use to. They really are of no use to me if they don't allow both sides of a story to go out.
Yeah. Here is the punchline. An hour after I compiled this story and sent it off to you, I got a phone call from Cision. They wanted to know why I was on their website. They wanted to know what I thought about their website. They wanted to know if I wanted a copy of the 2026 State of the Media report. I mentioned that it was free. I already have a link to it. And then they wanted to know if there was anything they could sell me, which I thought was the funniest thing in the world. I told them I was doing a story. I told them my deadline was 8:00 tonight. I told them I was going to put out the story, and I'd be happy to send them a copy of it. And I said that, it'd be really cool. You have a big office in Montreal. Why don't you get one of your senior executives to come online and interview me about the difference between new media outlets and legacy media outlets? And he said, well, I don't know if I can do that. And then I said that, well, even better, you can tell me that Rich and I, we've got a list of like 75 to 90 different new media outlets that are not CRA accredited. These are independent journalists. They're very good at their job. Why don't you include them in your list of accredited media outlets in Canada? I mean, they could use the advertising. Whereupon he said, oh, I don't know about that either. And then he said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you an overview of our conversation, and you can call back and you can call into our Montreal office, and I'll see if I can help you. Whereupon I said, okay. And this conversation occurred about 3:00, and he hasn't sent me an email. He hasn't got back to me. I have no idea what Cision's going to do, but they'll sell to anybody.
Yeah. It's crazy.
What?
It's crazy.
Yeah, they're supposed to be the largest and most organized company in the world in this area. Obviously, their AI didn't detect what I was really looking for. Obviously, the salesman who called up, AI didn't tell him what my resources were. AI didn't tell him anything that was useful for him. He seemed sort of embarrassed. He said, "Oh, wow, that is interesting. I really think people would like to know about that." But he couldn't tell me about it, and he works for the company.
Yep, and it's funny. The AI is not able to detect when I'm BSing the people too.
Yes.
The other day, I got a call. I'm playing around on the web, just toying around with stuff. Anyways, I ended up getting a phone call from this salesman trying to sell me some stuff, and I'm sitting there, no, and he says, "Okay, I can get you. Let's get you started now. I just need your account number so I can have a place to deposit the money." And I said, "No." I said, "You're going to have to. I only deal with cash, so you're going to have to come to my door with the cash, and then I'll take care of it."
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, it was click, gone.
AI is I don't know. I think really dumb. I think AI is feeding on its own AI stories, and it's getting dumber and dumber.
Yeah.
Shall we go on to our last piece?
Is that mine?
Yeah.
Oh, and I can't remember the title of this one. It's
Common sense is spreading like the latest pandemic.
Yeah. This was kind of interesting when I saw it. I thought this we can probably banter around for a little bit. Let's take a look at it.
I think this is really timely, given the fact that we've been mostly focusing up until now on big bureaucracies doing stupid shit. Here we go. Mongo Minds on BitChute post. Common sense is spreading like the latest pandemic.
Do you think this is a good thing? Do we need to diversify the countryside?
I think absolutely. It's been white for far too long. And
it's been white for far too long. Look at the demographics of this. This is in England. So you have 2 black people, 1 white person, and the black guy who's getting interviewed is saying the countryside is too white. It's been white for far too long. Does nobody see a problem with this? Imagine this was in Nigeria. There was 1 black dude, there was 2 white people, and the white person was saying Nigeria's countryside has been black too long. How did we get to this stage? The biggest issue is that people don't see a problem with this. I could never get away with that kind of rhetoric in another country. To go to the Congo and complain it's too black. To go to Japan, complain there's too many Japanese. There's too many Japanese people in the Japanese countryside. There needs to be more of me. What they're showing on TV when they say it's too white, that is genocidal language. It's the exact same if you're a liberal. Imagine the Israelis were looking at Palestine and saying there's too many Palestinians in there. We need more Israelis. Do you think that's fair? Imagine Nigeria was 99% Nigerian. 5 years pass, it's 95%. Another 5 years pass, 90%. Another 5 years, 85, 80, 75, 70%. And then the people coming in started talking the way this man's talking on air. It was promoted. I went around and I started saying there's too many Nigerians, too many black people. That village over there is full of Nigerians. That needs to change. That is genocidal language, and that's allowed to spread in Europe.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Fascinating as all outdoors, but the scary part is that he's right.
Yep. If you go to those other countries and you start saying it's too black, well, hey, they've been black for thousands of years in their area, and then of course you try and do that in England, too white, the countryside. Well, geez, come on, guys.
We're supposed to be too polite. We're supposed to be too deferential. We're not supposed to stand up to our rights, for our rights.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, when I saw that, I thought this is time to be, let's start promoting this. Let's start pushing this out to the people, because most people don't see this. I see it. I see it as happening a lot of the time. So
I see it happening a lot around where I live. I notice it more than I used to. Some of it's job related. Some of it's just people have been trained to be passive and stupid.
Yep. Yeah. When I was in high school, there was a lot of Italians in the school.
Mm-hmm. So did you
But
tell all your friends there were too many Italians?
Yeah, well, no, it didn't. It's not too many Italians. As a matter of fact, a lot of them were my friends.
Yeah.
But then, of course, now we have these idiots that are trying to say that there's too many. They're going to go into that school and say there's too many Italians here.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a white school. Well, the school was a Catholic school. Italians are Catholic. So, it's by nature. So,
Yeah.
When you start to see all this type of stuff happening in the world, it's time to let's do some common sense talk about it.
Yeah, I think the only legitimate way to judge people is by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin. That's Martin Luther King, and
Yep.
It was big when I was a kid, and I don't know why he's being wiped out of history. I mean, it's one thing to make fun of John A. McDonald, but Martin Luther King.
Well, yeah, it's everybody's a target.
Everybody, and normally the ones with the most power, the Rothschilds. Nobody makes fun of the Rothschilds. Nobody said there's too many Rothschilds in this room.
I do.
Yeah. Are there too many Rothschilds on this podcast?
And Rockefellers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I basically attack them all. I did a story this last week there on the 13 families.
Okay.
And it was a longer documentary, but it covered the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and others.
Okay.
Their names don't stand out because they've always been in the background.
Okay.
They don't like to be on top. But the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, they got exposed, and their names are mud as far as the people are concerned.
I sort of hope so. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go from this. Any more comments before we wind up?
No, not right now. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of tired right now. I'd like to go and close my eyes for about 10 minutes, and then I got to get up and get doing some other stuff.
With all due respect, you sound more than normally sharp tonight. You may feel tired, but your brain's functioning.
Well, thank you.
Before letting you go to sleep, I'm hoping to find out what's on your plate for next week.
Okay, I am not doing a show tomorrow morning.
Okay,
I'm
Tuesday
gonna-
morning is
Yeah, I'm going to drop that show for tomorrow morning because I got to build a picnic table.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I figured I'll take the show out. I don't have to spend time editing it and all that stuff.
Okay.
And then, of course, I'll come back. Wednesday I'll be off. Of course, that's my regular day off. Thursday, Friday, I'll come back and do the shows then.
Okay.
I'm getting a really good sense of these longer shows that I'm doing, the 30-minute shows.
Mm-hmm.
I might try and find some more of the 15-minute shows and maybe do 2 of those
Okay.
because there's so much more information you can gather from those shows. It's unbelievable.
I agree
The
with
problem-
that. We're just
the problem-
overwhelmed by information. Putting it in context is good.
Yeah, and then of course the problem with that is that I have to look for specific shows for roasting the press because they're only going to be like a couple of minutes long.
Yeah, the way we're structured for the short ones.
Yeah.
I can make a suggestion. Put in a longer one. Put in something 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll run it. It'll save me time next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that. I can look for longer shows. I just kind of enjoy using those ones because there's so much information. I just get really into listening to the shows.
Yeah.
So
that's okay. I'd be willing to do that. I always wanted to do a watch party with the Jones Plantation, either the original one or the longer or the movie version from 2022, I think. So you could do that as well. You could get a longer piece, and we could do that.
okay. All right. But I'll try and keep it between 5 and 10 minutes long.
That'll work for me. That'll still give us time to put together some other stuff, but it'll save me a little bit of time, and it'll make life a little easier.
Okay.
You are not on air tomorrow. You're not on air Wednesday. You are on air Thursday and Friday at the channels beneath my chin at the bottom of our screen, and you start at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. Is that correct?
You're back.
Okay. Then nothing left to do but wrap up for Freedom Forum,
All right.
which we normally record every. I'm sorry. Say again.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. We have a little bit of a lag tonight. None of the technology is working. I think our AI is failing. Roasting the Press normally records on Monday, but for the last 2 weeks we've been doing it. Roasting the Press normally records on Sunday, but for the last 2 weeks we've been doing it on Monday. We will be doing it for at least one more week on Monday at 8 p.m. That's next week, and this is primarily because I've taken on a new marketing job, and I want to make sure I have time to deal with everything. But we normally. Next week, we'll record Monday night at 8 p.m. on a variety of internet platforms, including the one you are watching. We will republish the show the next day with notes on our Substack page at chuckblack.substack.com. And most of our stories will slide behind a paywall after a month online. So if you'd like to maintain access, the easiest thing for you to do is to sign up for a monthly subscription. And same price as always. A little too fast there. $20 Canadian a month, $160 per year, gives you access to archive posts, anything over a month old. It has a lot of in-depth articles not covered in our regular programming as well. And we also have a Substack app. There it goes again. My technology is failing me. We also have the Substack app to help you access Freedom Forum stories from your phone and subscriber chat so you can tell us what you really, 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 really want. My name's Chuck Black. I directed this show badly tonight using StreamYards, which we normally recommend every night, but tonight, although it might be the mouse. I have my mouse may be running out of batteries. But we only recommend StreamYards if you sign up using either Richard's or my link. And we get a little bonus out of this at the end of each month to help defray some of our costs, and every little bit helps. Richard, you were on the ball tonight. You contributed some great stuff, even though you're tired now. So I can't thank you enough for coming on the air and helping out. And I look forward next week to some of your longer pieces. And finally, the show notes will be up on Substack tomorrow, and we'll be back next week on Monday at 8 p.m. for another edition of Roasting the Press. Did I miss anything, Richard?
Nope, you captured it all. Thank you very much.
Good night. I'll see you in a week. Good night, everybody.